Hi once again. Today before I start my video, I'd like to request you kindly to subscribe, like and share my videos. I will really appreciate. I'd also like to know your comments. So before you watch anything, kindly click that button if you've never subscribed, and it will be, I'll really appreciate. So today I want to speak about the time that we're spending. Nothing ever goes for waste. Nothing is ever, no time is wasted. Like whatever kind of situation you're in, do not look at it like it's a wasted situation. Because whether it's positive or negative, life in itself is a lesson. So I believe that we always learn in good times, we always learn in bad times, we always learn when we feel like there's nothing going on around us. So whatever the situation, just try to be aware, try to be more observant, try to look around and see the way things are happening and learn from it, so that if in case the same situation repeats itself, you will have learned something or you will have prepared for it better next time. And most people are saying the year 2020 is a waste, but I want to believe the year 2020 is not a waste. Yes, negative things have happened for some people, but at the same time, positive things have happened for some people. So life in itself is not, it's like, it's different for everyone. And as I normally say, if everything was identical for all of us, life would be so boring. So there are some people who've really gained, and there's some people who've noticed nothing, their life is just going on as normal. There's some people who have no idea. They wake up in the morning, their life is just the same. There's some people who, like, I'd say things have really happened that you never saw coming. And I'm in I'm in that group, where as late as March, there's some things I never even thought on my mind, but they've happened now. And I'm like, nothing is really permanent. That's one of the lessons I've really learned. Nothing is permanent, and never say never. And things can change just in the last minute, or things can change like complete paradigm shift, and things can happen so opposite, things that you've never even imagined. And one thing I'd like to tell someone, whatever the situation you're in right now, learn from it. Learn from it, because I believe there are things that have happened differently that you never thought. I'd say, like for me, if I were to get my job back today, or get myself in a situation where I have employment and I'm getting a salary, the way I would budget would be very different. For quite a long time I've had like advice, financial advice, and there are some things you always postpone and say, I will do this after that, I will do this later, I will do this, I will do this. But then, now that I do not have permanent employment, I look at things and I normally tell myself, if that time was to reverse now, I would be much wiser, because the way I would handle my finances would be very different. And I thank God. I don't want to complain completely a lot. I'd say I'm not that kind of person. I want to believe that I'm not that kind of person who has always been living beyond my means. That is one thing that I always tried to avoid. I never lived beyond my means. And I'd like to say that really helped me even now to survive after the situation, whatever situation we've come through. It has really had a lot of effect on how I've survived up to now, because I tried never to survive beyond my means. And just the kind of advice that we're normally told, it's important that when you're working, try to put yourself, this is something that I really had a lot before this COVID-19. Try to put yourself in a situation where you ask yourself, if I were to lose my employment today, would I be able to survive for the next 6 to 1 year with the same lifestyle I used to live, or would I start depending on people? Would I just crash immediately? Ask yourself those questions. And it's okay, maybe you never knew this before. Now you are learning through experience. And as I normally say, lesson learned the hard way is lesson never forgotten. So I'd say learn from it now. Tell yourself, if I get the next opportunity, especially this, I want to tell especially the young people, don't feel bad that you've lost your job. Don't feel bad that maybe you're just finishing college. Maybe you worked in an industry where now most people are being rendered redundant. You've gone to college and you want to work in an industry where you feel like it's more dangerous. Maybe it's the hospital, the healthcare industry, the hospitality industry, the tourism. Basically, people have really been affected in some industries. Yes, we have people like teachers. They know there's hope, though they have no idea when. But you have industries like tourism, you know, where we even looking at elections are still coming. Normally, even during elections, that industry gets affected. So I'd like to tell someone, if you're young, ask yourself, this is the career I wanted to choose. Am I really on the right direction? And really, is it your passion, or you are choosing it for other reasons? You're choosing it because you saw someone working in a hotel and you just admired it. You chose it because you saw someone travels a lot and you admired it. This is now the time to ask yourself. Traveling has been restricted. Clients are people have minimized traveling abroad, tourists. Now mostly maybe it's just the domestic tourists. And again, the domestic tourism is not that so much productive because most people have also lost their jobs. So ask yourself, I should thank God for this situation because it has given me a chance to make a decision and to think twice, to plan myself better. Because there's someone where they've reached, it's so hard for them to reverse, it's so hard for them to change career, it's not easy. But for you, you're still young. You have that opportunity. So don't look at things like things have just gone down. Thank God and say, this came at the right time. No. This came at the right time, and now it's time for me to re-strategize and think. The same thing I normally say. There are maybe some people you feel like you've lost your friends, or people now are acting differently around you because now, you know, they are afraid of you, even maybe you'll become a burden to them. They are afraid of even calling you because they are afraid maybe if I call her, she'll start asking me for money or something. You should thank God for such a situation. Ask yourself, this is the right time of knowing my loyal friends, my loyal people who are there with me. This is the time for me to really know how people stand with me in life. Because I can assure you, there are very simple things that people can do and you can read by just observing the way they act. I've always said before, even when someone speaks to you on phone, you can know their reaction. You can know, are they just calling me? And you can feel that like they're kind of not so much opening up to you because they're afraid you might tell them something that they don't want to hear, you know. So learn, appreciate, say, don't even complain. Yes, initially you might have complained, but you know, recently I came and thought, instead of complaining, let me thank God for this situation, because now it has made me see the right people. The people who are there because they were getting something from me. You know, the people whom when you see their call, you know something is coming up. They've remembered me. This cannot just be, they wouldn't have remembered me if they did not want something from me. They might remember you, call you, and then plan to call you next week now to ask for something. Thank God for such situations. Now you know, now you have learned. Don't complain. So I'd like to say nothing has gone for waste. No matter how bad the situation is, yes, it has opened your eyes to see some things the way you should see them. It has prompted you to do some things that you couldn't have done. It has helped you to make a decision in terms of way forward, in terms of career, in terms of just the way you've been living, rethinking, you know. It's maybe even made you a better person. Now that you feel like people did not act in this way, what would you do better next time to someone else who is in such a situation? Because sometimes we blame people, but the first people we should look at is ourselves. Look at yourself. Have you always been there for other people? Do you normally, you know, being there for people can just be sending a text and showing someone that, you know, I'm thinking of you, you're in my mind. There are people who will completely go dead. You will not even hear them, while they used to call you like every week. All of a sudden, they're not even calling you anymore. So it's a good lesson. Learn from it. I'd also like to say the same way we learn from this COVID-19, it's the same way if you maybe are in a situation where you have to, like, you feel like there's a lot of negativity, there's a lot of unfairness, there's a lot of strain. Some of these things, they really make you, they build your character. They make you a different person. Trust me, there's nothing good when you're going through some situations in life. Nothing good when you're going through a situation that comes with stress, that comes with, you know, anxiety. You know, there are some situations that I wouldn't even wish for my enemy to go through. But those situations, when you look back, they've built you. Those situations, when you look back, they've helped you the way you judge people, the way you treat other people. Because sometimes you ask yourself, am I also treating people the same way I'm being treated? Have I made someone feel this pathetic? So such situations are not wasted. Thank God for them. Let them help you to become a better person. Let them help you to make decisions differently. Learn from them. Don't let them affect you in a negative way. Just learn from them. Some of them make you persistent, resilient. They make you patient. They make you be the kind of person that you don't answer things very fast. Because sometimes, you know, you are in a situation where you're not even given permission to even try and justify yourself. You just keep quiet, take all the blames, and just pray quietly within. So I'd say sometimes they also help you to listen a lot. They also help you not to rush to defend yourself. Those are some things that I really learned. There are times I know I really used to be very fast at defending myself, and there's a time I was like shut down and told, you like complaining, you like defending yourself, just keep quiet. Even if it's the people under you have made the mistake, it's your blame. You are their leader. That is the time I really learned, wow. So when maybe a complaint comes and you know sometimes you're not the one to blame, there are times you keep quiet and really hope situations will really prove themselves. And I can tell you, those times have really built me to who I am. They've really made me patient. They've really made me sometimes, especially when I look at young people, sometimes I feel like I'm that kind of person who sometimes just never understands. I look at someone doing something and I wonder, which part of no don't you get? Which part of don't do this don't you get? But then, sometimes I just keep quiet and look at someone and say, you know, they're going through this stage in life. They need to learn through this stage in life. And so I say, let me let them learn through it. Because sometimes without experience, we are told experience is the best teacher. Without that experience, this person might never know. The same thing we are normally told. If you don't go through a problem, how will you know that God can solve that problem? If we never go through some conditions in life, how would we know the power our God has when we depend on God, but we never get into a situation where we really need God to show himself strong for us? How would we know? So we go through some situations, and even the Bible itself says, when you go through the valley of the shadow of death, not if. The Bible tells us when you go through, meaning we are going to go through some situations. Now, only the strongest will survive. It's normally survival for the fittest. And like I said in one of my previous videos, sometimes you just have to preach to yourself, remind yourself these Bible verses, remind yourself these encouragements, listen to those voices people have been talking to you. Listen. And this is the time just to appreciate, this time I went through this, and now this is how I'll get out of it. And trust me, after some time, you look back and you'll be there for someone else and tell them, you know, during COVID-19, this is what happened and this is how I managed. So nothing has gone to waste. Thank you. Click the button once again, subscribe, like, share. I'll appreciate. See you again in another video.